Hey, I'm Bo with Open Source Skateboards, and today I'm going to share my latest skateboard with you. This board right here. This board has some really cool features, such as being made from local urban lumber and having some unique and fun geometry. However, one of the coolest features about this board is that it was pressed using 3D printed skateboard molds. In this video, I'm going to share how I printed the molds and pressed this skateboard, and tell you a little bit about why I think 3D printed skateboard molds have so much potential and may even be better than more traditional wood or concrete molds. So let's jump right into this. Until a few weeks ago, all the molds I've ever made to create a skateboard have been made by carving material away from a foam or wood block. This method of building is called subtractive manufacturing because you are removing material from a block to create your final product. While this is clearly an effective method, it can have some drawbacks. It can be labor intensive if you are carving a mold by hand or creating your own stock material. It can get expensive. CNC routers, which are basically machines that automate the sculpting of a block, don't have negligible costs for most makers and require a good bit of space. And it can be wasteful, particularly with female molds, because so much of the material just gets carved away. An alternative to subtractive manufacturing is additive manufacturing, which most of us more often hear referred to as 3D printing. 3D printers are automatic building machines that work just like a CNC router, except they progressively add material rather than cut material. There are many different types of 3D printers, but FDM, or Fused Deposition Modeling, seems to be the most prevalent technology at the consumer level and the most affordable. There can be much less waste with a 3D printer, as it only uses material to add to the part. There are no chips or sawdust. While anyone that has used a 3D printer, though, knows that failed prints can occur more often than we'd like, any waste material could be processed back down into filament. One downside of 3D printing is the amount of time it can take to produce a part relative to other manufacturing methods. After seeing Chris from Good Roads share his 3D printed molds and process on YouTube, I was intrigued to give this a shot myself, particularly to see if lightweight PLA 3D printed molds could be effective in more of a production level application under higher loads like 40 tons. If you don't know of Chris and the Good Roads channel, I highly recommend you check out his creations. Thankfully, Chris had also published a video on destructive testing some 3D printed sample pieces under a load. I also found a video about strength testing infill patterns from CNC Kitchen, another great YouTube resource. So, to get started, I chose to make a redesign of my Flow Style skateboard mold. The Flow Style board is a symmetrical board that has rocker and wheel flares, and is probably my favorite shape to skate because it has a great mix of functionality and comfort. I originally designed it in 2019, and I felt it was time to give it an update. It would also be a great opportunity to push the limits of this mold because of its unique and complex curvature. The updates included adding concave into the kicks, making the kicks spline driven rather than just a radius and an angle, switching the concave from radial to more of a progressive tub, and changing the wheel flare position and distance between the kicks. I won't get into the functional details of these changes in this video. Rather, I'm just highlighting the complex geometry involved in the shape that I'd be testing. I designed the molds to just press one deck at a time, as I want these to be pretty consistent, and I'm not using a glue applicator, so getting more than one deck glued up within the working time of the glue can be risky. Truck holes were designed into the mold to provide a guide for drilling so that drilling could be done precisely and before the board was removed from the mold. Other features were added for deck registration if needed, such as if alternative wheelbases were desired. I made the mold as small as I could to fit the range of board sizes I planned to make on the mold, and divided the mold into sections small enough to to fit on the bed of my 3D printer. I noticed the 3 middle sections of the male mold were very tall with what felt like wasted material space and print time, so I cut out a good portion of the material so that I could add a sheet of plywood underneath them. Bore holes on the back side of each print section would serve as cavities to install threaded heat set inserts, which would be used to mount the sections on a plywood backing board. I also added an overhang with holes on the backing board, which would serve as my mold alignment when I inserted a long bolt through them. They were positioned in such a way that the veneer I was using would not interfere with them. The plywood backing board and male substructure would be cut out on a CNC router. Of course, I realize the point of this video is to show an alternative method where you wouldn't need a CNC router, but there are many different ways to build alignment into your molds without one. For example, you could 3D print templates and jigs to provide precision in your builds. Once I finalized the design, I needed to set up the files for 3D printing. After doing some research, I decided to give 10% infill a shot. It seemed like it would hold up to the 40 tons of force I was going to apply. And when I say infill, I'm referring to the amount of material used inside the mold. For example, 100% infill would create a completely solid block, and 10% infill would create material in 10% of the inner volume of the part, while the other 90% of the volume is empty space. I also changed out my default 0.4 millimeter nozzle to 0.8 millimeters. A larger nozzle will extrude more material at a time, which produces thicker layers and therefore reduced printing times. The ability to print details is sacrificed with a larger nozzle. However, I didn't need the level of detail provided by a smaller nozzle, so there wasn't any notable sacrifice with these skateboard molds. While I'm mentioning hardware, I'll also mention I'm using a Prusa i3 MK3S 3D printer, which I've been really happy with. I'm also using the Prusa Slicer software to generate the G-code for the printer. For the material these molds would be made from, I decided to use PLA as it is the cheapest printer filament, probably the most common filament, and seemed to have good enough mechanical characteristics based on the research I had done. It tends to print more easily and reliably than other filaments, so I could reduce my risks of failed prints as well. For the infill pattern, it looked like gyroid infill was the fastest while providing great strength. I used the default settings for draft quality with a layer height of 0.55 millimeters, but removed all top and bottom shells. I also had to remove the skirt since the parts were too large to have it. Actually, later I realized I probably could have still printed it if I just changed the distance from the object of the skirt. None of the print times were more than 4 hours, which was awesome. 2 of my prints failed. First, one did because the bottom warped. I resolved this by applying glue from a glue stick on the bed. The other print failed due to a layer shift, and while I'm not sure what exactly caused this, I greased the bearings on the 3D printer and I didn't have this issue again. Once the prints were made and the backing board was cut, I installed the threaded inserts and mounted everything together. Then it was time to actually press a board. On the first press, I loaded the jacks until the molds created full contact with the veneers. I didn't have a gauge to measure the force, but both jacks could have been jacked more. I left the boards in the press overnight. One effect I was hoping to see with these 3D printed molds was reduced cure time and springback due to their porosity. With traditional molds, the only part of the veneers that is exposed to the air during pressing is the edge around the perimeter. With a 3D printed mold, and particularly one without top and bottom shells, I expected the larger surface area exposed to the air would aid in curing. I have plans to answer this question better in the future, but for now, let's keep going. I did a second press a few days later with some red gum eucalyptus veneers I had that I couldn't use in a deck to sell because they had too many inconsistencies. Or at least that's the thought that I had. So I figured I should test it to find out what's really acceptable for the veneer quality. This time I pressed the jacks all the way to see if the mold would hold up, which it did. Although when I took the red gum out of the press, it had some indentations on the top surface from the gyroid infill pattern and some marks from the seams of the mold pieces that I couldn't really sand out. I think the eucalyptus was a little softer than the maple, and the extra load I applied on this press may have just been excessive. However, I imagine simply putting some sort of barrier veneer on either side and adjusting the mold surface offset accordingly in the mold design could eliminate this potential issue if you do encounter this. Since the red gum board had questionable veneer, I decided this would be the prototype for me to skate, and I'm so glad that I did. The board feels absolutely amazing. With these two boards, I haven't seen any issues with the glue lines, and I haven't seen any issues of warping. To me, this is pretty awesome that 3D printed molds can be so effective, because I didn't think low infill molds would hold up to the large amounts of pressure that is required to press multiple boards at once or create more complex geometries. I recently released some updates to SkateCAD that will help with 3D printing molds, and hopefully this means designing and building skateboards has never been easier. SkateCAD is the browser-based skateboard and skateboard mold design software I've created based on OpenJSCAD, available at skatecad.com. The sustainability potential is also great. Waste can be massively reduced, and any plastic waste can be reprocessed into more 3D printer filament. I know that's a little ideal because not everyone does that, but the fact that that is very possible is very promising. Modular molds, lightweight designs, a fairly open supply chain, and all the technical capabilities of 3D printing make this particularly exciting to think about. I'll be doing more testing with these molds, and I hope this video has inspired you to maybe try this out as well. If you'd like to help us continue making improvements to SkateCAD, you can support the project on Patreon via the link in the video description. I also put some other helpful links in the video description, so be sure to check those out. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day. One last thing I almost forgot to mention. This board is the first board that I pressed, the maple one, and it's brand new. I never skated it, and I figured that I'd put it in the shop at opensourceboards.com. So if you're interested, check out the link in the description of this video. Thank you again so much for watching, and have an awesome rest of your day.